And we are live, guys. Let's try this out with the cell phone and going live on 4G. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today we're going to talk about my impossible dreams. When you set goals for the future, when you set goals for your life, you must set goals that are impossible to achieve in this lifetime. Some people say that you should set goals for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some people even say 50 years, and some people say 100 years. Now those are ridiculous. It's ridiculous to believe that you can achieve a goal past 100 years because you're probably not going to be alive, right? However, I say that you should set goals that are impossible to achieve, that are beyond even that, okay? But if they could be achieved in the next 50 years, or in the next 100 years, absolutely awesome. But most probably, it would be even better to set goals that cannot be achieved even longer term. The most impossible dreams are the most awesome dreams, okay? Because it doesn't just require you, it requires other people. When you set goals that are bigger than you, okay, then you begin to set in motion a purpose that involves not only the universe, but it involves other people and making a difference for billions of people long term, right? When you set just small itty bitty goals, I want to make $1 million, then that's great, okay? And that's what you need to do in the short term, because, you know, set the goal for $1 million, not for the $1 million, but for who you become in the process. Well, guess what? If you're gonna set goals that are beyond this life, that are 100 years goals, or goals that are even bigger than that, but you don't know the time frame because it's impossible, you gotta realize that these goals, man, what was I gonna do with that? Whatever. Anyway, let me tell you about my dreams. Let me tell you about my goals, because they are impossible to achieve, okay? But they will be achieved at some point in the future. There's 3 principles on this channel, or what we call the 3 pillars of the Men of High Value movement. They are truth, freedom, and family. The only thing I care about is that which works. That's my definition for truth. The definition for truth is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. If it doesn't work, I don't want anything to do with it, not whatsoever. I have no interest in it. I want it to work, but I want it to work in the sense of that it's an eternal principle. That it's a principle that I can bank on no matter what, no matter when, because it works. Do you understand what I mean? Like, maybe it doesn't work in the short term, but that's just because that there are some key principles that I have not understood about it, or people are not ready for it. So there's a transition until you can properly live that principle, okay? But that's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to achieve truth. That's really the key. The truth will set you free, right? So we want to get to truth sometime, somewhere in the future. The more truth we get, the better. And it's basically, this is pure education. Education is not what you go to a university to learn. You go to college, you go to school, you get a what? You get like a massive random education that's not going to help you even to get a job a lot of the times, okay? But if you understand education to be the exploration of that which works, it takes on a whole new purpose in your life. You want to then become completely educated on the eternal things. What works long term? Because I want the exponential growth. I want the juicy exponential growth that happens over time. For my happiness, for abundance, for life, for everything that I want in my life, okay? So if you understand that aspect, that we're all here to become educated, we're all here to get as much truth as possible, to figure out that which works, because this life is just a blip on the radar in the eternal scheme of things. And it's not even a religious channel, okay? So if we've got truth and it will set us free, that's truly what it's about. We want freedom, man. Okay? The universe has made it such in a way when we're born, we've got nothing. We come into this world naked, right? We've got no belongings, we've got no experiences, we've got nothing. We only got our parents and our siblings, hopefully, right? Nothing else. But we're not free because we're burdened by, nature and everything that happens around us. But fortunately, we have this core aspect called the family to protect us on our small journey as we grow up. But then we grow up and then we got to figure out that which works. Hopefully our parents knew that which worked and they taught us. And if they do that, then we are at a massive advantage compared to those parents and those kids who have no idea what's going on, right? So we want to get to freedom, really. And freedom is being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, without it tearing you down, without it causing an exponential decline. Right? Very often people say that, when you get freedom, then you basically, you are free to do whatever you want to do. But the thing is that you're not free to do whatever you want to do, really, because you're going to end up getting the consequences, right? So for example, if you're free to do whatever you want to do when you're a teenager, finally you can go out and drink, right? Or maybe you do it without your parents knowing. Okay, so if you do that, you're going to have consequences to your actions, right? If you're free to do whatever you want to do and you say, well, if I'm free to do whatever I want to do, then I can go out and kill people. Well, guess what? That's going to have consequences. Maybe if you manage to keep it a secret for your entire life, guess what? It's going to have eternal ramifications. It's going to have consequences. You're going to have it on your conscience. You're going to have it basically as part of your DNA that you did something that you weren't supposed to do, right? So what I'm trying to help you guys to understand is that freedom is not unleashed from consequences. So we got to understand what the actions are that will give us positive consequences. If we only understand the actions that give us negative consequences, then we're not becoming free. We're becoming more burdened, we're becoming more locked in, we're becoming more caged. That's what happens to people who drink, right? They become slaves to the alcohol. That's what happens to guys who need women. They become slaves to women. That's what happens to people who smoke, etc., 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 etc. Do you understand what I mean? How your life becomes worse the more free you think you are. So, how do you truly gain freedom? You gain freedom by understanding that which works in terms, if I do this more and more and more and more, and I keep doing this more and more and more, it actually ends up giving me more freedom, not less, exponentially over time. Do you understand what I mean? Let's say, for example, whatever, like you build a business, okay? If you build a business and you continuously make sure that you reach your customers' needs, then over time, there's going to be an exponential growth phase no matter what. If you serve the masses, that is a principle that works, right? In terms of giving you more freedom. So you do something, and guess what? Over time, exponentially, it's going to grow because you're serving the masses. It's a principle. That's going to give you more value back, which means it's going to give you more freedom, more abundance, more of everything that you desire in your life, right? That's a principle that works. Another principle that works, you can figure it out. You understand what I mean? You want truth, education for that which works, and then that truth, which is going to lead you to more freedom because you're being bound by the truth, but the truth sets you free. Does that make sense? Like, I'm trying to help you guys to understand that if you understand the long-term consequences of something, then you can know for a fact that, yeah, this doesn't work. Like drinking, like partying, like, doing all that crap that everyone else is doing. It doesn't work long-term because it's going to give you an exponential decline. Which actions that if I did this repeatedly, and not only that, but millions of people did this repeatedly, right? This is what my mom taught me when I was a kid. Like, if 1 million people did what you did right now, how would the world look like? And I'm like, man, that's a very good point. Like, if you go into the shop and you steal a chocolate bar, for example, I'm just giving you a random example. If 1 million people did that, how would the world look like? It wouldn't work, right? Property rights work, okay? That's the principle. So now that we understand truth, we understand freedom, we understand that if we find out those things that work, that will give us exponential freedom, give it to me. I want that as much as possible because that's going to create joy and happiness, not only in the short term, but exponentially in the long term. Does that make sense? And that's what life is about. We're here to have joy. We're here to have happiness. We're here to experience what life has to offer, and it's amazing, okay? Once you understand these principles and you apply them to your life, life becomes awesome. And it becomes an exploration of that which works, because you don't know what works, right? Until you've tried it consecutively and consistently over a long period of time, and then you can assuredly say, man, this is absolutely amazing. I'm teaching you guys my dreams here, okay? Sometimes we forget what the title is. Sometimes I forget. Which leads us to the next one, which is family. Well, guess what? Family works. That comes from a guy who does not believe in monogamy. That doesn't believe in one man, one woman. Now, see, that doesn't work. I've tried it for 11 years. And I've seen tens upon thousands, okay, maybe even hundreds of thousands of examples of it not working, okay? When the dude in Friends said to Ross, monogamy is too cruel a rule, man, he was right, okay? And it's not cruel to men, it's cruel to women and children too. How sick is that? Who implemented this system? What's going on? Okay, so I'll tell you now my dreams. Well, just one quickly thing about family. Why does family work, but monogamy does not work? Okay, no, we'll move on. We'll move on. Okay, so you got the 3 pillars of the movement, and then you've got the 3 categories of life, as I call them. They are health, finance, and relationships, in whatever order, okay? Relationships is the most important one. Who cares about his life when he's got no relationships and everything's absolutely horrific with all of his relationships? Usually those are the guys that commit suicide, okay? So we got to figure out how to make our relationships absolutely amazing in our lifetime. That's a principle that works. If you figure out how to make your relationships absolutely amazing, guess what? You're going to be happy. You're going to have joy. You're not going to want to commit suicide, okay? So, and then when it comes to your health, if you have absolutely horrific health, at one point you'll want to die. You literally will want to go over to the other side because this life is just simply too painful. If you have optimal health, however, why would you want to go over to the other side? It doesn't make sense, right? You want to stay as optimally healthy as possible. You want to have as good relationships as possible. And then, of course, the monetary aspect. You want to have your financials in order and you want it to grow exponentially, right? So those are the 3 categories of life. Guess what my biggest dreams are? It's the reversal of these 3 things. My biggest dream is to get rid of, okay, slowly but surely, no radical here, still applying the principle of freedom here. We're not going to force anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. We're simply going to educate people, okay? Over time, exponentially, until everyone knows everything that is self-evident. Now, obviously, some people will receive the truth earlier than everyone else on that exponential curve. Guess who benefits the most? It's the people who get this information as early as possible. You're part of an amazing movement here. The Men of High Value movement, where you can understand principles of truth that work in the long run and in the big scheme of things. Awesome. The 3 things that I want to get rid of: 1, monogamy, because monogamy doesn't work, okay? But I want to keep family intact, because a society without families, now that doesn't work at all, okay? None whatsoever. You can't build a family, you can't build society if there's no families. Families is the basic structural unit of society. We need it. Okay, because if kids grow up without parents or without fathers or without direction, because they don't have the hierarchy and beauty of a family and people who love them and who are there for them and who accept them when they're kids, then they're gonna be screwed up for life. And if they're screwed up, guess what? Hurt people hurt others, so they're gonna hurt others continuously and use force as a mechanism to get what they want. That's a problem, okay? We want family so that we can instill the values of masculinity in men in the long term and femininity in women in the long term as well, right? Because if we don't have that, if we don't understand the male and female dynamics, we cannot have family long term, right? You understand male and female dynamics? Your family is gonna work. Like, and as I teach on my channel, it's impossible for you to be dumped if you understand these principles. You'll never be dumped if you understand female nature, right? Maybe sometimes you want to be dumped, but that's because you suck, right? If you, oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm teaching you guys about family here, how monogamy doesn't work. Well, what is it that works in terms of family? As I teach on this channel, as I teach on my 3 Girls in Love channel, for those of you who haven't been on that channel yet, go register, go subscribe to 3 Girls in Love channel, because you're gonna get so much understanding from what I teach women, okay? I'm improving continuously of how I teach women. I've been doing that for about 1.5 years. I still suck, okay? Like I've pretty much, taught women about 3 Girls in Love for approximately 500 hours or 1,000 hours total in my life. And what have I said about elite performer in anything? Okay, you've got to put in 10,000 hours. So I haven't even done 10%, so I suck at explaining things to women, and that's okay. Okay, even though I understand female nature, I need to get better at explaining things to them, but it will get better. But for you guys, so it ends up really, that channel ends up being really for men. Because once they know the core foundations of my philosophies and they listen to the 3 Girls in Love channel, man, they become experts on female nature. Okay? And that's what has been going on with my clients and those guys who are actually involved in checking out 3 Girls in Love. Man, they like, okay, this is mind-blowing. This is intense. If they actually pay attention and watch all the videos, because, you get your nuggets in between here and there. Anyway, what I'm saying is 1 man, 3 women. Why? Okay, let's first start with the basics. The most important aspect is the kids, okay? 1 woman does not manage to take care of kids. You can't send 1 woman, okay, who is a feminine creature, who doesn't have capacity to the same extent as a man, if she's put in an environment that doesn't work, that is difficult to handle. Women these days, because they're social creatures, they become lonely when they're in the home, homeschooling. And that's what you want your woman to do. Like, in a perfect society, isn't that what family is for? To raise kids and to teach them the ways of life so that once they are adults, they know how to succeed. Why on earth are families giving that responsibility over to the public sector, to the government of all people, to teach your kids? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Are you blown out of proportion? Like, this is that's ridiculous. You can't allow the government to teach your kids. That's the same entity who are stealing your money every single year and forcing it, by the way, okay? They're not using freedom. They're not using voluntarism to get your cash, right? Why would you give your kids over to the government too? It's insane what people do. So if we understand family, and that's the thing that's going to help kids to become adults and to become respectable, to become meaningful pieces of society in the future, we've got to understand that we've got to know that homeschooling is it. So if you apply the principle of homeschooling, what you'll understand is that, oh wow, 1 woman in the home, homeschooling the kids, taking care of the home, taking care of everything, and then being ready for the man when he comes home, yeah, that's not going to work very well. I've tried it. We've been homeschooling our 3 kids from the very beginning. Man, we're so grateful that we did that. The kids are grateful that we did that. But do you understand what I mean? The woman is then lonely, and if she's lonely, guess what she's gonna do? She's gonna go towards her nature, which is femininity, because in the home, homeschooling kids, she's masculine now. She's doing tons of stuff that she does not want to do, and she tries to do it because she loves her kids, she loves her man, and she's trying to, improve everything. And she's trying to be superwoman. Well, guess what? These days, women have now gone into the workforce because they were lonely. Okay? And now they're in the workforce and they're now social, but now they're burdened by the world. And they've got a different boss, right? Why would you want to send your woman off to a different boss? Anyway, the whole point that I'm explaining is that we're doing 3 Girls in Love not for us, okay? That's the last thing we think about because we're leaders. If you're a leader, if you are a CEO in your company or an owner in your company, the last person you think about is paying yourself. You first pay your employees so that you can have consistency in your business, so that everything can run smoothly so you can get that sweet exponential growth. Well, guess what? In a family setting, who comes first? Not you, right? You're a leader. So you make sure that your kids and your woman comes first. But if you do that, it's not going to work very well and monogamy is going to suck. So if you have 3 Girls in Love, you're doing it for the kids so that they can have 3 mothers who love them. And if you space the kids and you only have 1 child per woman per 8 years, okay, that's what we recommend according to the system that we believe works the best, then that's going to work beautifully. Oh my gosh, okay? Because now you have each child, each individual child is receiving the love, the worship, the adoration, the excitement, the abundance of having 3 women take care of them. At any beck and call when they're kids, they get all of the stuff that they need. So that becomes what's normal for them so that they're ready for boys, so that they're ready when they're old enough that they're going to get that they're going to want to get women into their lives as well. So they're going to actually tap into discipline and get things done. Anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush too much, but I'm just explaining to you guys that it's first for the kids and then it's for the women. The women need 3 Girls in Love way more than men do. My goal is to reverse the action that the Roman Catholic Church, no offense to those that are Roman Catholics right now, okay? I'm just talking about the Roman Catholic Church in the 300s. The people who made monogamy the rule. Why? So that they could control the men. So that they could control basically the kingdom. In monogamy, it looks as though it's actually easier to control the people. Interesting how that works. Why? Because the woman automatically controls the man every single time because the man desires sex more than the woman does. Okay? That's a problem. Because then the woman is the one who has the power in the relationship. That's what we've been living feminism this entire time, guys. And the only way that people say that we've been living patriarchy is because men have been beating up their wives, right? It's been oppressive patriarchy. It hasn't worked, but we've moved on now and we've come now to understand female nature. We've come now to understand male nature and how they massively complement each other if we live according to that which works. And I want to reverse that action that the Roman Catholic Church did in the 300s of making monogamy the rule. Romantic. Interesting how that works, right? 1-1. They messed it up, man. They screwed us over. Until this day. But now we're beginning to understand. Oh, it's 3 Girls in Love. That's what works. Okay. Second of all, we're gonna do this, okay? Eventually, at some point in the future, probably not in my lifetime, we're gonna have a 3 Girls in Love society where there are 1 man, 3 women, and 2/3 of men don't have access to women none whatsoever. Guess what? That's what we're living in today, but at some point in the future, all men will be motivated to get women because there is no access to women. Except if you gain the trust of the 3 fathers and you are actually a man of high value. In that way, we secure that women and children all over the world, that no women and children are not being provided for luxuriously. Wouldn't that be an amazing world? There would be no widows because women would always be in demand. right? So the value of women would massively go up. The value of the men who actually are qualified would massively go up. So the motivation for those that are low value men, and those are the only people that are going to be low value in that society, that motivation for them to actually get 3 Girls in Love will drastically improve. Do you understand how effective society would be if literally 80 to 90% of the male workforce were motivated to get women, to get a family, to create life, to reproduce, right? My gosh, it could be an amazing society. That's one of my biggest dreams. For monogamy to not be the rule anymore, but for 3 Girls in Love society to be established, okay? I'm insane, bro, okay? Like, it doesn't, for people who don't understand these principles, who cares? Whatever, I don't care. I know what works. And I'm gonna share it with, with everyone who wants to listen. But don't do 3 Girls in Love now, okay? You gotta qualify. How do you qualify? Well, we'll talk about that another time. The next thing is, I wanna get rid of, drum roll, taxes. Benjamin Franklin at one point said that there's 2 things in life that you can't avoid, and it's death and taxes. Well, guess what? Those are the 2 things that I want to overcome. Those are the 2 problems and obstacles that I want to take on head on. Okay? We're gonna do taxes first, and we'll figure out death eventually, okay? We're gonna figure out how that works. But eventually, at some point in time, we're gonna get rid of death and taxes. Let's go through taxes real quick. Guess what? Taxes does not work. Why does it not work? It's not part of truth. Okay? If we understood why? Because taxes actually makes life extremely ineffective, or simply from the fact, okay, the number 1 principle why taxes is wrong is because it uses force. Remember, freedom is an eternal principle. Why would you have to use force in order for us to get to the other side, to get what we want? There's something really bad about that. Why do you have to force someone if it's a win-win situation? A win-win situation is a principle that works. If you're creating a win-lose, it's the government who wins when they get your money, and you lose because you got to put your money over to them. What's up with that? What? Oh, okay, well then I'll just have to accept it, because if I don't accept it, then I go to jail. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. I'm saying understand that taxes in the long run doesn't work. So we've got to figure out a way to get to voluntarily get the government to not want our taxes. That's a tall order. That's one of my dreams, okay? We're gonna do it non-violently. We're gonna do it being fired up. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it one small step at a time. Is it gonna be achieved in my lifetime? Absolutely not, okay? But at one point in the future, one beautiful day, no one will have to pay taxes. Some people say that taxes is the price we pay for civilization, for a civilized society. Well, guess what? I want my money back, because there's so many places in the world where they're extracting taxes from their citizens, and guess what? There's still civil unrest. There's still people fighting each other. There's still people murdering each other. There's still bad stuff happening all over the world. And every time the government puts in a law, there's a black market. Every single time. Why? Because we do what we do no matter what. Some people are desperate to do the things that they want to do so that there becomes a black market anyway. Why could we just simply allow people to do whatever it is that they want to do, as long as they don't enforce or force others to do what they want to do if the other person doesn't want to do it? That's the society we want to go towards. So in the beginning, we'll need police, we'll need judiciary, we'll need some judges, right? And we'll need a military so that we can't have people coming into our country and basically destroying us, right? So you need those 3. But other than that, what's the point? Why do you need government assistance if you are voluntarily helping the poor, helping everyone, helping make sure society is wonderful? And you'll do that voluntarily if there was no government. When there is welfare, you don't want to help out people because that was supposed to go to them. Welfare is supposed to help those guys. And there's still people living on the street? So obviously the government way of eradicating poverty hasn't worked. Give it to us. Give it to volunteers. And don't steal our money. Okay? Like, that's, for me, it just makes sense. Taxes is not something that you should accept. It should be something that we together move towards eliminating absolutely completely. Another aspect of taxes is the aspect of one day in the future, don't we want a society where no one kills anyone, no one steals, no one does anything wrong, simply because they know. They've been educated. Oh wow, if I do this, then this is going to be the consequence. So I want to create win-win situations everywhere I go, because I know now that that's actually beneficial long-term for everyone, including myself. Right? So the reason why people are breaking the law and doing stupid things, okay, is because they're ignorant. But the problem is that the government gives us thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of new laws, which makes all of us lawless because we have no idea what the law is. Man-made laws that are ridiculous, okay? And the more you understand the laws, the more you understand how ridiculous they are. And that's what I'm trying to share with you guys, is to understand that, guess what? There shouldn't be a law other than the universal laws. Okay? The truth, that which works. Okay? Because there's so many laws in place that don't work. So, one day in the future, everyone will know the truth. Everyone will be happy. Everyone will live according to win-win situations. And when that happens, why would we then need police, a judiciary system, or a military if everyone knows? But that's going to take a long time, so we've just got to cut down government at least to strip them away until we only have military, judiciary system, and the police. One of my biggest dreams. I'm fired up and passionate about it. And we'll still have a stabilized society because of families, right? And the third one, which is death, okay? Sometimes in the past, I've said to those that are saying, oh, I want to get a college degree, blah, blah, blah. And I say, like, quit school, get rid of school, blah, blah, blah. But there's one thing that you probably should learn, or maybe not you, but there needs to be some people, okay, who learn and who go deep into understanding anatomy and who understand the principles of preventative medicine, right? So, but the problem is that the government very often are those that choose what doctors are learning at school. And if you understand what doctors are learning at school, you'd be very disappointed. Like, very disappointed. Because they only learn very often how to treat symptoms. Okay, have you noticed that? You go to the doctor, he prescribes pills to you, or he tells you to do this, that, and the other, and you're like, really? Okay, that's kind of weird. Okay, because they're only taught how to treat symptoms. They're not really taught how to avoid it and how to prevent it. Okay, so we have this issue, this problem of like, should we learn about, like, the goal is to figure out how we can avoid death at some point in the future, right? Well, you're not going to do that by learning what you learn in school as a doctor. And then you become a doctor and you think you know everything and you know squat about avoiding death. Okay? And even doctors sometimes smoke and drink and do stupid stuff that destroys their bodies. What the heck is wrong with that? So do you understand? What I'm basically saying is we need doctors, but they need to educate themselves properly on preventative medicine. But they still need their freaking diploma in order for them to practice medicine. Because if you're not practicing medicine, then, you know, people don't take you seriously. You're basically a quack, right? And you're not going to be able to practice properly. So there are some doctors we need, but do it fast, okay? Don't use 6 freaking years. Do 2 or 3 years, absolute maximum. Maybe this is a business idea for some of you guys. In the future, health is going to be massive because we have this baby boomers who are growing up, becoming old, etc. So health is going to be huge in the future, even bigger than what it is today. So if you want to establish a business in that, how about, for example, you establish a school? An online, big, huge school program, which is basically teaching people how to finish school, okay, their doctorate, okay, and becoming doctors, but doing it in a fast-paced manner. And then on top of that, you teach them preventative medicine. Wow, imagine how huge that would be in the future, where people are like, I don't want public school education, what the heck? Or I don't even want to go to private school education to get my doctorate. I'd rather become a doctor with this online program, because they're also teaching me preventative medicine and proper anatomy. And if I understand that, and people know that I've been to this online school, okay, if it's online or not, doesn't matter, then people are going to flock towards that, because we need doctors who understand prevention, who understand how to keep people healthy in advance of them becoming sick. Because if you're only healing symptoms, then basically if people are dying, they're already on their exponential decline curve. It's like it's the things that you did for 50 years that's the problem. Not the thing that you're doing right now at the end of your life. Oh, let's take some pills to try to avoid death, shall we? What the heck? You should have been spending 50 years preventing death in the first place. And if you did that, you'll notice that your body self-heals. Okay? When we die, we've basically ruined the process of healing. Over time, slowly but surely, every single day, by the things that we eat and by the things that we do on a daily basis. My goal is at one point in the future, we're going to figure out death. And we're going to eradicate it so that we are free from that. And guess what? The universe wanted us to figure that out in the first place. But my goal, I have to tackle the first two things. I have to tackle monogamy, which is going to be a huge battle on its own. And I'm going to tackle taxes. Okay? That's my big dreams. Death, for me, it's not my passion, okay? I understand the principles. There's so many things we also don't know about how to stay alive forever. But in many aspects, I don't have capacity to think about death and how we can live forever. But I know that if we can eliminate those two things, okay? Make monogamy into 3 girls in love, and then make non-voluntary taxes into voluntary, beneficial, win-win situations for citizens around you, right? With you and your neighbors. If we can do that, then you're going to live probably 50 years longer. Simply from the fact that you'll have motivation in your life. Family and amazing, in-love, romantic relationships with women who love you, who love your kids, and simply having family relationships that work. That's going to give you fire for years on end, right? And if the government doesn't take your taxes, then simply you have more reason to live because you've got more abundance. And if you've got more abundance, you create more win-win situations, and then you're fired up about building more win-win situations, right? Instead of the government taking 20 to 30 to 40 to 50% of what you make. I believe that those two things were going to help us to live longer. Anyway, I love making this channel for you guys. I hope you got tons of value out of it. Comment down below the things that you want to share with me, and I'll always reply. Let's see if there's, I don't even know how to check the notes here. Live chat. All chats are visible. Here you go. What do you think about psychedelics? I'm completely against psychedelics. Completely against psychedelics. Stay away from any drugs. Stay away from anything that could be addictive. Stay away from anything that gives you a short-term boost of anything and short-term happiness of anything, because it's going to create an exponential decline. Trust me. Other than that, with God, all is possible. When dreams are aligned with good will to all men. Absolutely. What do you think happens after we die? Let's see. Yeah, there's tons of things that I could share with that. But it's not a religious channel. I have, actually, to be honest with you, I don't know what happens after we die. So I want to share thoughts on things that I know for sure. And that's the only things I want to share on this channel. If you want to figure out how we die, etc., then you should probably talk to someone else. I have my own ideas, but they're just ideas. So I share them basically with my clients. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. You guys are absolutely awesome. I'll see you in the next one.